Thousands of gallons of burning oil pour into the Gulf of Mexico. And the national right to die debate rages on. This is the CBS Evening News. Susan Spencer sitting in tonight for Connie Chung. Good evening. Oil spill worries are growing in the Gulf of Mexico, where the situation aboard the burning supertanker Mega Borg took a dramatic turn for the worse this afternoon. Scott Pelley is standing by live in Houston with details. Scott?
Susan, at this hour, the crude oil cargo of the Mega Borg is spilling into the Gulf of Mexico. This afternoon, I should say, there have been several more explosions and a rapidly growing fire. Burning oil is now spreading from the stern of the Mega Borg, engulfing the aft end of the tanker in a rolling fire. At midday, a series of 5 explosions tore through the vessel, apparently breaching at least one of the cargo tanks. The stern of the ship has slipped low in the water, but the Coast Guard does not believe it is sinking.
We have the cargo shifting, which makes it go down by the hill. It's not getting heavier, so it doesn't look like it's in imminent danger of sinking. The
Mega Borg holds more than 30 million gallons of light crude oil, 3 times more than that spilled by the Exxon Valdez. The oil is stored in 16 individual tanks. It is not known how many are leaking. Ships and equipment are steaming toward the stricken tanker. The Coast Guard has stationed planes nearby loaded with chemicals to break up the oil. The Mega Borg is anchored about 60 miles off the Texas coast. If a massive spill reached the beaches, it would be expected to land between Freeport, Texas and Corpus Christi. Everything depends on winds and currents.
There's a good possibility that it would not even impact the beach with the currents and the wind conditions that we have here.
From a pollution standpoint, experts say the fire could be beneficial. Fire is often used as a tool to clean up spills at sea. Also, the nature of light crude oil and the hot Gulf temperatures make it likely much of the oil will break up naturally before reaching shore. But before they stop the oil, they must stop the fire. More firefighting equipment is en route this hour. The Coast Guard hopes to bring it under control in about 24 hours. Susan?
Scott Pelley in Houston, thank you. There was a second ship in trouble today, this one off Cape Cod, where the luxury liner Bermuda Star ran aground in dense fog. By midday, the Coast Guard had managed to contain oil spilling from that ship's hull. All 1,100 passengers and crew were evacuated safely, no one hurt. In Portland, Oregon this afternoon, services were held for Janet Adkins, the 54-year-old Alzheimer's victim whose use of a so-called suicide machine has generated profound questions about how medicine deals with the right to die. John Blackstone reports.
Family and friends of Janet Adkins gathered in her church today to remember her life and to honor her controversial decision to die.
Janet loved life, but she didn't fear death.
Janet Adkins was a musician, but when she began to lose the ability to play the piano, friends say, that was among the first signs that Alzheimer's disease was ruining her mind.
When she was told that she had this terrible disease of Alzheimer's and that there was no way for her to win, she won anyway.
Janet Adkins has awakened a debate that a week after her death is still growing.
I support Janet Adkins' decision, and I will defend her against any of her detractors.
This is a discussion that really needs to occur not simply among health professionals or among physicians, but really in our broader society, because this determines ultimately what our values are, how we live as a society, how we define ourselves.
Dr. Jack Kevorkian, who helped Adkins die with his intravenous suicide machine, is under court order not to assist other suicides. Eventually, though, Kevorkian says he will help others end their lives.
I'll do it again because the demand is there, and I hope then some doctors will join me.
Advocates of suicide say that among the old and the terminally ill, choosing death is more common than most people realize. But it's still against the law in most states.
Life is a gift, and it's a precious gift that we have to treat with respect.
Well, most religions do not approve suicide. The church Adkins attended does. The Unitarians in 1988 adopted as church policy the right of the terminally ill to choose death as an alternative to suffering.
It is essential that we who fan the flames of freedom see that choice is paramount.
We've gone through this on the abortion issue. Now this is just another issue. Freedom of choice is very important.
While family and friends gathered for today's memorial service, Janet Adkins' body remained in Michigan. The uncomfortable questions raised by her death will not be answered easily. John Blackstone, CBS News, Portland.
Movie stars and some just plain folks marched in Washington today in support of animal rights. Park police put the crowd at 24,000. While the marchers represented a range of positions, the movement has focused recently on efforts to stop the use of animals in medical research, a position top health officials have called misguided.
How to make good old-fashioned iced tea. First, put the kettle on the flame. While you're waiting, bag your pot. Watch the telly. Check the kettle. Back your fat. Ring up your brother. Check the kettle.
Now there's a faster way to make fresh brewed iced tea. The Iced Teapot by Mr. Coffee makes 2 quarts of refreshing iced tea in less time than it takes to boil water.
Walk your feet. Come back. Check the kettle.
The Iced Teapot by Mr. Coffee. The modern way to make old-fashioned iced tea.
I was eating a cheeseburger when I saw I had a runaway car. It was a Maalox moment. Thank heaven Maalox Plus is so strong.
Easy, boys. She's purring like a kitten.
Maalox Plus, strong relief for all your Maalox moments.
In about 10 minutes, you can either begin making fresh brewed iced tea, or you can begin drinking it. The Iced Teapot by Mr. Coffee, the modern way to make old-fashioned iced tea.
Voting is over in Peru in today's election for president between 2 political newcomers. Security was tight to guard against threatened attacks by Maoist rebels. The unofficial projections say the winner is Alberto Fujimori, the son of Japanese immigrants, edging Mario Vargas Llosa, the world-famous novelist. The fighting in Liberia appeared to taper off today on the eve of peace talks. Despite the respite, though, Alan Pizzi reports that hundreds of Americans went ahead with their plans to leave the country.
Lively religion is about the only thing most Liberians have to give them any faith that tomorrow is going to be a better day. They are praying for success at peace talks scheduled to begin in neighboring Sierra Leone tomorrow between the rebel forces and the government. Just in case they fail, more than 300 American passport holders headed home today. They started off in the early hours at an American school, leaving with mixed emotions and primarily, many said, because the U.S. government pressured them to do so.
Liberians have a beautiful expression. They say, we go to come, and that's what we're doing. We're going, but we're coming back.
Coming back will depend on how well the peace talks go. The rebels still want Liberian President Samuel Doe to step down. Churchmen who will mediate are hopeful.
Now that we come to a semblance of getting to the table, I think that's a great achievement.
For those who made it out today, the peace talks are a bonus, but they have left behind thousands of other people who not only don't have American passports, they also come from the wrong tribe. And for them, the talks may literally mean life or death. At least 3,000 Gio and Mono tribespeople sought shelter in this churchyard after government troops began hunting and killing members of their tribes which support the rebels. The tribesmen's only protection is the high regard in which churches are held here. And those with no other succor hope both the government and the rebels will get their message. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Monrovia.
The Palestinian news agency said today that U.S. and PLO envoys met again this weekend in Tunisia. President Bush said last Friday the U.S. might end the dialogue unless PLO leader Yasser Arafat condemns the recent guerrilla raid on the coast of Israel. It was not a banner day for American athletes abroad. Andre Agassi is still looking for his first tennis Grand Slam title after losing the French Open final. Agassi was beaten in 4 sets by Andre Gomez of Ecuador, who at 30 is 10 years older. And for the first time in 40 years, an American team played in the World Cup soccer tournament. played and lost. Playing in Florence, Italy, the U.S. team managed to score only 1 goal against Czechoslovakia, losing 5-1. Next up for the U.S. on Thursday, host team Italy. That's the CBS Evening News. Bill Plant will be here later with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Susan Spencer in New York. Have a good week.
This is CBS. And now, a TV2 Eyewitness News Break.
I'm Vince Wade. The Pistons overcome the Portland Jinx, but the game has a tragic ending for Joe Dumars. Eli Zaret, Verge Jacques, and Spencer Haywood will have a live report at 11. At the ballpark today, Tiger fans hugged the stadium. And several thousand animal rights activists marched today in Washington. Now this.
At these prices, it's practically a steal.
Thornton Apple Valley sliced bacon, 1 pound package, $1.79. Cheer laundry detergent, 39-ounce box, $2.29. And Charmin bath tissue, 4-roll pack, 89 cents with newspaper coupon.
Go Tigers, go Progrering.
2 members of the sexually suggestive rap group 2 Live Crew are arrested. Get the facts on Eyewitness News tonight at 11.
When years of promises haven't lowered outrageous property tax bills, it's time to change governors. And John Engler is ready for the job. We need new priorities, not new taxes. That's why the Engler plan would cut our property taxes 20% and cap our assessments to no more than the rate of inflation. Michigan taxpayers can't afford 4 more years of promises. We need results. We need the strong new leadership of John Engler for governor for a change.
Remember the first time we came up here?
Yeah.
You promised me that we would grow old together and we'd retire up here.
Well, I kept my word about getting old, didn't I?
Oh, well, we're not that old.
Good, because we're not ready to retire yet. Of course, by then, you'll know where I'm at every morning.
Yeah? Where?
Right out there, with a fishing rod in my hand.
I'll never get used to how beautiful this is.
By the time you start talking about retirement, you should already be planning for it. That's when the right bank can make a difference.
Dust off the air conditioner. It's going to be a hot week in Detroit. The forecast at 11.
London, Friday, the 18th of June, 1982. That morning, the body of Italian banker Roberto Calvi was found hanging under Blackfriars Bridge in the heart of London's financial district. We may never know exactly how Roberto Calvi met his death, sometime around midnight under this bridge. But one thing seems sure, Alfred Hitchcock could not have staged a more sinister death. The members of the lodge to which Calvi belonged were said to wear black robes and to refer to each other as brother or friar. And remember, this is Blackfriars Bridge.
Grand Central Terminal, the next station stop.
Its name, Grand Central, and its trains, like the 20th Century Limited, captured the romance and elegance of an age. But now, from its early morning opening, the first arrivals are not travelers, but the shuffling legions of New York's homeless.
You ain't allowed here, so come on.
If they cleaned this whole place up, between the waiting room, the whole terminal, upper, lower level, all the tunnels, you probably end up with 400 or 500 people.
Come on, Pop.
As medical breakthroughs help keep people alive longer and longer, some older Americans are finding it's not a way they want to live. For many, the so-called golden years are filled with little more than debilitating illness, chronic pain, and loneliness. And for them, suicide has become a final, desperate exit.
I'm Mike Wallace.
I'm Morley Safer.
I'm Harry Reasoner.
I'm Ed Bradley. Those stories and Andy Rooney tonight on 60 Minutes.
It will surprise you on just how much car you're getting and how little you're getting from the Japanese car, which is something I never expected.
In an independent test, Plymouth Acclaim was picked over Honda.